"You're not invited to Christmas this year," my dad snapped. "Fine," I replied, quietly transferring the $15,000 Park City fund back into my account and canceling the luxury cabin reservation. By morning, I had 8 missed calls, and the panic in their voices made me smile. This happened about 8 months ago, and I'm finally ready to share the whole story. Some of you guys have been asking me to post this after I mentioned it in another thread. Fair warning, this is going to be long, but worth the read if you want to see justice served properly. For those asking in my DMs, yes, this is 100% real, and yes, I have all the receipts. I changed some minor details for privacy, but the core events are exactly as they happened. All right, so context first, because this goes way back. I'm Ariana, 29, female, and I work as a senior project manager for a major logistics company. Been grinding since college, working my way up from warehouse floor to corporate office, managing million-dollar supply chain operations. While most people my age are still figuring out basic adulting. My family, though, complete different story. Dad, 52, runs a small accounting firm, makes decent money, but acts like he's running Goldman Sachs. Always wearing these expensive suits he can barely afford, driving a BMW he's still making payments on. Classic middle-class guy with champagne dreams and beer budget. Mom, 49, works part-time as an office administrator, but spends most of her energy playing family therapist and enabling everyone's nonsense. One of those keep the peace at all costs types who would rather ignore problems than deal with reality. Then there's my sister Emma, 26. Holy cow, where do I even start with this girl? She's basically the poster child for entitled millennial princess syndrome. Went to college for art therapy, which is code for professional partying. Never held a real job for more than 6 months, but somehow always has money for designer purses and weekly spa treatments. Emma figured out early that being pretty and playing victim gets you everything you want in life. She's mastered the art of crying on command, making every conversation about her problems, and guilting people into funding her lifestyle. And it works, because she's got this whole innocent blonde thing going that fools older relatives and desperate guys alike. Meanwhile, I'm over here actually contributing to society, managing complex logistics operations, paying my own bills, and generally being a productive human being. But somehow, Emma's the one who gets praised for being creative, while I'm just the boring project manager who needs to learn how to have fun. The pattern's been the same for years. Emma gets in trouble. Family rallies around her. Emma needs money. Everyone chips in. Emma has a crisis, which is usually self-created. Suddenly, it's all hands on deck to fix her life. Me, I solve my own problems like a grown woman. But this Christmas was supposed to be different. I finally had some serious money saved up and wanted to do something special for the family. Show them that their responsible daughter could provide experiences, not just fix everyone's messes when they came calling. Big mistake. The whole dynamic had been building for years. Every family gathering was the same pattern. Emma would show up with some new crisis or exciting announcement about her latest business venture that never went anywhere. She'd get all the attention while I sat there like background furniture. When I got promoted to senior project manager last year, Dad's reaction was, "Well, it's about time you made something of yourself." When Emma quit her job at the flower shop because her manager didn't understand her artistic vision, the family response was, "She's too special for normal jobs anyway." I'd been subsidizing this dysfunction for years, without really thinking about it. Car repairs for Emma when she couldn't afford them. Business loan for Dad when his firm hit a rough patch. Vacation fund for Mom when she wanted to visit her sister. Always framed as temporary help that I'd get back eventually. Of course, I never saw a penny returned, but I didn't push it because family is family, right? I made good money and they needed help. Seemed like the right thing to do. But somewhere along the way, my help went from appreciated to expected, from emergency assistance to regular subsidy. I became the family ATM and didn't even realize it until much later. That Christmas planning seemed like a chance to change the dynamic. Instead of just fixing their problems, I could create something positive. Give them an experience that would show I wasn't just the boring, responsible one. I could provide luxury and fun, too. Should have known better. So, last September, I got promoted to senior project manager on our biggest logistics contract. Massive bump in salary, plus a fat bonus for bringing the previous project in under budget and ahead of schedule. I'm talking serious money here. Cleared 6 figures for the first time in my career. Instead of blowing it on a new car or investment schemes like some people would, I decided to plan an epic family Christmas vacation. Found this incredible luxury cabin in Park City, 4 bedrooms, hot tub, full kitchen, private mountain access, the works. We're talking $15,000 for a week between Christmas and New Year's. Yeah, 15 grand. That's more than some people make in 4 months. But I figured it would be worth it to finally give my family a Christmas they'd remember forever. Maybe show them that the quiet project manager daughter had turned into someone who could provide the finer things in life. I spent weeks researching places, reading reviews, making sure everything was perfect. Found a place that looked like something out of a travel magazine. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the mountain slopes. Massive stone fireplace. Gourmet kitchen with professional appliances. The kind of place where celebrities go to ski. The photos were incredible. Master suite with a view that stretched for miles. Living room with cathedral ceilings and furniture that probably cost more than my car. Kitchen stocked with everything you'd need to cook for a small army. Private hot tub on the deck overlooking pristine wilderness. I put down the deposit and sent the confirmation to Dad, expecting maybe some appreciation for the gesture. His response was classic him. About time you contributed something meaningful to this family. Not thanks, not appreciation, just this attitude like I owed them, this level of luxury. Should have been red flag number 1, but I ignored it because I was excited about the trip. Emma's reaction was even worse. She immediately started posting on Instagram about our family's Christmas at the Park City mansion and tagging all her influencer wannabe friends. Posted pictures of the cabin from the rental website like she'd personally selected and paid for it. Started making wish lists of designer ski outfits and researching which restaurants she wanted to hit. Not one mention of who actually booked and paid for this whole thing. According to her social media, this was just another example of the universe providing for her because she deserved beautiful experiences and was manifesting abundance. The entitlement was unreal. But I figured once we got there, once she saw how much effort and money I'd put into making this happen, maybe she'd show some actual gratitude for once. Maybe the whole family would see that I wasn't just the one who fixed problems. I was the one who made dreams come true. I started planning activities for everyone. Researched the best ski instructors for Emma, who had never been on slopes before. Found a spa package for Mom, who always complained about being stressed. Even looked into business networking events for Dad since he was always talking about expanding his client base. The resort town had everything. Fine dining restaurants where I made reservations months in advance, boutique shopping that Emma would love, cultural attractions for Mom, who always said she wanted to be more sophisticated, even a golf simulator for Dad, despite the winter weather. I was picturing family dinners around that massive dining table, everyone laughing and bonding over shared experiences. Maybe some actual gratitude for the daughter who made it all possible. Again, big mistake. December rolls around, and I'm getting excited about the trip. Bought some new gear, researched the best activities, even prepaid for ski lessons and spa appointments. I was actually looking forward to spending quality time with my family for once, instead of just being the problem solver they called when things went wrong. Then everything imploded on a Tuesday night in mid-December. I stopped by my parents' house after work to drop off some early Christmas presents I'd picked up during a business trip. They were sitting in the living room, looking at Emma's phone. She was showing them photos of ski outfits she wanted to buy, giggling about how jealous her friends were going to be when they saw her post from the luxury cabin. I mentioned something about double-checking our dinner reservations for the fancy steakhouse when Dad cut me off mid-sentence. "You're not coming on the trip." Just like that. Matter of fact, like he was telling me dinner was ready. I stared at him. "What?" "You heard me," he said, not even looking up from Emma's phone. "We've decided it's going to be immediate family only this year. You understand?" The words didn't even make sense at first. Immediate family only. I am immediate family. I'm their daughter and sister. Emma smirked, without looking away from her phone. "Yeah, Ariana, no offense, but you kind of ruined the vibe. This is supposed to be fun and relaxing, not one of your boring responsibility lectures." I felt my blood pressure spike. I booked the cabin. I paid for it. $15,000. Dad finally looked at me, annoyed like I was interrupting something important. "Language, Ariana. And yes, we appreciate you handling the logistics, but Emma's going through a difficult time right now. She just quit another job because her boss was controlling, aka expected her to show up consistently, and she needs family support. Your presence tends to create unnecessary tension." Mom nodded along like a bobblehead. "Maybe it's for the best, honey. You work so hard. You could probably use a quiet Christmas to relax at home by yourself." That's when it clicked. They weren't kicking me out because of some family drama. They were kicking me out because Emma wanted them to, because Princess couldn't handle having someone around who might expect her to show some gratitude or contribute something besides Instagram content. I looked at the three of them sitting there, already planning their luxury vacation on my dime, making me the villain for having the audacity to expect basic respect. And something cold settled in my chest. "So let me get this straight," I said slowly. "You want me to pay 15 grand for a luxury vacation that I'm not invited to attend?" "Don't be dramatic," Emma said, finally looking up from her phone. "You make good money. You can afford it. And we'll totally post pictures and tag you so you can see how much fun we're having." The casual cruelty of that statement hit me like a physical blow. She actually thought I should be grateful for the privilege of funding their vacation and watching it happen through social media posts. Dad cleared his throat. "Ariana, you're a grown woman with your own life. This is a chance for the core family unit to bond without outside complications. I'm sure you can find something productive to do with your time." Outside complications. That's what I was to them. Not a daughter and sister, but a complication to be managed and excluded when convenient. "Fine," I said, keeping my voice steady. "Enjoy your family trip." They probably thought I was going to go home and sulk about it, maybe call them later begging to be included. What they didn't realize was that I had just made a decision that would change everything. The cabin was booked under Dad's name for ego reasons, but my credit card was on file for all charges. My money, my reservation, my choice. What happened next? I went home, opened my laptop, and canceled the entire booking. All $15,000 back in my account within 24 hours. Let's see how much fun their family bonding time would be in Dad's cramped townhouse with no mountain views or luxury amenities. The next morning, my phone exploded, and I mean complete nuclear meltdown-level chaos. Dad called 8 times before 9 a.m. His voicemails went from confused to angry to borderline threatening. First, it was, "Ariana, there seems to be some error with the Park City reservation. Call me immediately to sort this out." Then, "This isn't funny. Whatever game you're playing, fix it right now. People are depending on this trip." Finally, "You're embarrassing this family and yourself. People are asking questions and I don't have answers. This ends today or there will be consequences." Emma's texts were even more unhinged. "Are you kidding me? I already told everyone about Park City. My friends think I'm a liar now. You're ruining my reputation and my mental health." Followed by, "Dad says you canceled out of spite, but I know you're not that petty. Just fix this mess and we can all move forward like adults." And then, "Fine, be a baby about it. But you're paying for my therapy because this is traumatic and I can't handle this kind of stress in my life." The audacity was breathtaking. She was literally demanding I pay for therapy because I canceled a vacation she had excluded me from, that I was paying for entirely out of my own pocket. But the real performance came that evening when Mom showed up at my apartment. She had this whole guilt trip production ready, brought homemade cookies, got all teary-eyed, the full emotional manipulation arsenal. "Honey, I think there's been a terrible misunderstanding," she started in that sweet, practiced voice she uses when she wants something. "Your father didn't mean you weren't welcome. He's just worried about Emma's mental health right now and thought a smaller group might be less overwhelming for her." "So I'm invited now?" I asked directly. Her smile got tight and forced. "Well, that depends. Can you fix the Park City situation first? Emma's already made promises to her friends, and your father told his business partners about the luxury cabin. We can't let them down or make the family look unreliable." There it was. I wasn't invited because they wanted me there or valued my presence. I was conditionally invited because they needed me to clean up their mess and make their lies into reality. "What if I don't fix it?" I asked. Mom's mask slipped for just a second, and I saw the calculation underneath. "Then you're choosing to hurt your family, Ariana. Is that really who you want to be? The daughter who destroys Christmas out of selfishness?" I walked her to the door without giving her the answer she desperately wanted. But inside, I was already planning phase 2 of something much bigger. Because if they thought canceling the vacation was bad, they had absolutely no idea what was coming next. The family group chat Emma had created was still active. She kept posting like the trip was definitely happening, asking what everyone wanted her to bring back from the luxury resort. Mom was sending heart emojis and talking about how excited she was for family bonding time. Dad posted about wine selections and how he couldn't wait to hit the slopes like this was all his idea and his generous gift to the family. I watched this circus with a weird mix of disgust and growing anticipation. They were digging themselves deeper with every post, making bigger promises to more people. The eventual crash was going to be absolutely spectacular, but I wasn't ready to pull the trigger yet. First, I wanted to see just how far they'd go to maintain their fantasy. Over the next few days, the pressure campaign intensified dramatically. Emma created a group chat called Park City Christmas Magic and added the entire extended family. She started posting about how excited she was, asking aunts and uncles what souvenirs they wanted her to bring back from the fancy resort town. The messed up part? She was still pretending the trip was definitely happening. Posted photos of ski gear she was shopping for with captions like, "Can't decide which designer jacket to pack for our luxury cabin." Made a big show of asking for restaurant recommendations and talking about spa appointments she was supposedly booking. Our cousins were commenting about how lucky she was, how they wished they could afford such an amazing Christmas experience. Emma was eating up every bit of attention, responding with fake, humble comments about being so blessed and grateful for family that makes dreams come true. Dad joined in enthusiastically, posting about how he couldn't wait to hit the slopes and talking about the business networking opportunities he was planning to pursue in Park City. He made it sound like this was all his brilliant idea, his generous gift to show the family how successful his accounting firm had become. I watched this performance with growing anger and disbelief. They were lying to dozens of people, building up expectations they couldn't possibly meet, all while acting like I didn't exist or matter. But then, Dad made a mistake that changed everything and crossed a line I didn't even know existed. I got a call from my bank's fraud prevention department about suspicious activity on my account. Someone had attempted to make a large purchase using my card details, a $15,000 deposit for a cabin rental in Park City. The booking was attempted under Dad's name with my financial information. My own father had tried to commit credit card fraud. Actually attempted to steal $15,000 from me to cover up their lies and maintain their fantasy vacation. That phone call was the moment everything shifted. This wasn't just about family drama or hurt feelings anymore. They'd crossed into actual criminal behavior. Dad had literally tried to steal from his own daughter to avoid facing consequences for his lies. I started documenting everything with the methodical precision I used for logistics operations at work. Screenshots of Emma's social media posts claiming credit for my generosity, bank statements showing I'd paid for the original booking, the detailed fraud alert from my financial institution, every text message and voicemail they'd sent. But more importantly, I started making some strategic phone calls of my own. My Uncle Jim, Dad's older brother, who runs a successful construction company, had always been straight with me. I figured he deserved to know what was really happening before he got caught up in their web of deception. "Ariana," he said after I explained the situation, "your dad called me last week asking for a loan to cover unexpected vacation expenses. Said it was an investment in family relationships and asked for $3,000. Now I'm wondering what he really needed the money for." Turns out Dad had been systematically hitting up relatives for cash, claiming he was covering the Park City trip, but needed help with extras like flights, activities, and fancy dinners. He'd collected almost $5,000 from various family members, based entirely on the lie that he was the one planning and paying for this generous Christmas gift. Uncle Jim was furious when he realized he'd been scammed. "Your father used my trust in him to get money under false pretenses? That's not just lying, Ariana. That's fraud." That's when I knew exactly how to destroy them completely. They wanted to play games with lies and manipulation? I'd show them what happened when you tried to con someone who managed complex operations for a living. I spent the next 2 weeks playing the long game with military precision. Let them think they'd won. That I was sulking at home while they figured out damage control for their imaginary vacation. Meanwhile, I was gathering intelligence and setting up the perfect moment to destroy them. Through Uncle Jim, I learned Dad had secretly booked a much cheaper cabin about 3 hours outside Denver, some basic 2-bedroom place for $900 total. He was planning to pass it off as just as good as Park City and hope people didn't ask too many detailed questions about the accommodations. Emma was still posting like they were going to the original luxury resort, showing off expensive ski gear she'd bought with Dad's borrowed money from relatives. Her Instagram story was a daily countdown to Park City Christmas, with increasingly ridiculous captions about living her best life and how blessed she was to have such a generous family. The family group chat was pure comedy gold, relatives asking for the exact address so they could send Christmas cards to the cabin. Dad making vague excuses about finalizing security details, while Emma posted stock photos of Park City and pretended they were previews of where they'd be staying. She'd even started a hashtag Blessed in Park City, and was encouraging family members to use it when they posted about the trip. The level of delusion was staggering. But the real opportunity came when I discovered their Christmas Eve plan. Dad had invited his biggest clients and business partners to a holiday celebration at my apartment complex clubhouse. He was planning to regale them with stories about the amazing family trip to Park City, using it as a networking opportunity to talk about how successful and generous he'd become. Emma was planning to bring her photographer friend to take candid shots of the party that she could post later with captions about back from our incredible Park City adventure. The plan was to sell the lie so completely that no one would ever question what really happened during their Christmas vacation. That's when I decided to give them a Christmas they'd never forget, for all the wrong reasons. I booked the same clubhouse for December 27th, 2 days after their fake celebration, sent invitations to the entire extended family, Dad's business associates, even some of Emma's social media friends. I called it a post-Christmas family gathering and promised some major announcements about exciting developments for the new year. What I didn't mention was that those announcements would include a complete breakdown of their lies, documented evidence of the fraud attempt, and a very detailed explanation of exactly who had paid for what over the years. I spent days preparing a presentation that would have made my corporate training proud. Every lie documented with screenshots, every financial transaction backed up with bank records, every false claim to relatives supported with evidence. But first, I had to let them have their moment, let them dig the hole as deep as possible before I buried them in it, permanently. Christmas came and went exactly as I expected. They did their pathetic fake celebration at the clubhouse. Dad spinning elaborate stories about the amazing luxury cabin while Emma showed off photos she'd clearly stolen from travel websites. I stayed home, watched football, and put the finishing touches on my presentation. The revenge I was planning would be nuclear. Complete destruction of their reputations, their relationships, and their financial security. They'd used me as their personal ATM while treating me like garbage. And now they were about to learn what happened when you betrayed someone who had the skills and resources to fight back properly. December 27th was going to be a day they remembered forever. December 27th arrived with perfect weather, cold and clear, just like my mindset. The extended family started showing up around 2 p.m. for what they thought would be a pleasant post-Christmas gathering. Aunts, uncles, cousins, family friends. Dad's business associates came too, expecting another round of networking and success stories from their colleagues' generous Christmas hosting. Emma brought her photographer friend and was posing near the entrance like some kind of celebrity returning from an exotic vacation. She'd even changed her Instagram bio to "just back from Park City Magic" and was wearing new designer clothes she'd clearly bought with the relative loan money. I waited until everyone was settled, until conversations were flowing and people were relaxed and receptive. Then I stood up and asked for everyone's attention in the same confident voice I used for corporate presentations. Thanks everyone for coming today. I said I wanted to share some exciting news about the holidays and clear up any confusion about recent events that might have been circulating. Dad looked nervous but was trying to maintain his confident facade. Emma was still pouting, probably thinking this was going to be some kind of public apology or reconciliation that would make her look even better to her audience. I pulled out my laptop and connected it to the big screen TV in the clubhouse with the same efficiency I used for work presentations. First, let me show you the real story of our family Christmas vacation planning. Up went the original Park City booking confirmation. My name as the primary renter, my credit card as the payment method. $15,000 total cost clearly displayed. People started murmuring and shifting in their seats. Dad's face went completely white. Next, here's the cancellation notice from when I was informed I wouldn't be welcome on the vacation I had planned and paid for entirely myself. Screenshot of the refund confirmation. $15,000 back in my account on December 15th. The date stamp clearly visible. Emma started to panic, her voice getting shrill. Ariana, what are you doing? This is supposed to be a celebration. Oh, it definitely is a celebration, I said calmly. Keep watching. Next slide. Screenshots of Emma's Instagram posts. Her claiming the Park City trip was happening exactly as planned. Her asking followers for restaurant recommendations. Her daily countdown to the trip of a lifetime with hashtags about being blessed and grateful. Then the bank fraud alert. Dad's name on the attempted transaction. the official notice that it was flagged as potential identity theft and credit card fraud. The room was dead silent now, except for the sound of people's shocked breathing. But here's my personal favorite part, I said, clicking to the next slide with the timing of a professional presenter. The family fundraising campaign that nobody except the victims knew about. I'd spent days documenting every loan request Dad had made. Uncle Jim had helped me reach out to other relatives who'd been approached. Turned out Dad had collected almost $6,000 from various family members, all based entirely on the lie that he was covering an expensive family vacation and needed help with additional costs. The evidence was devastating. Screenshots of text messages asking for money, bank transfer records showing the payments, even voicemails where Dad had laid on thick emotional appeals about wanting to give his family a Christmas they deserved. One of Dad's business partners stood up looking absolutely furious. "Wait just a minute. You told me you were taking your family to Park City for Christmas, said it cost $18,000, and you wanted to show them how successful the firm was becoming this year." "I never said Park City specifically," Dad stammered weakly. "You absolutely did," the man shot back. "I've been telling my wife about your amazing family generosity for weeks. You specifically mentioned the luxury cabin and the $15,000 budget." Emma tried desperately to salvage the situation. "There was a misunderstanding about the booking details, but we still had an amazing Christmas together. The location doesn't matter when you have family love." I clicked to the final slide. Screenshots from their actual Christmas. The cramped $900 cabin near Denver. Dad looking miserable in every photo. Emma's Instagram stories that she'd quickly deleted, but I'd saved. The stark reality versus the elaborate performance she'd been putting on for weeks. "Here's where they actually spent Christmas," I said. A $900 cabin 3 hours outside Denver, while telling everyone they were in Park City and collecting thousands of dollars from family members to supposedly pay for luxury accommodations. The explosion was immediate and brutal. Uncle Jim stood up and pointed directly at Dad. "You owe me $3,000, John. Today. Not next week. Not next month. Today." Other relatives started demanding their money back, their voices overlapping in anger. Dad's business associates were looking at him like he had some kind of contagious disease, because in their world, lying about your financial situation and family success was career suicide. Emma started crying, but not the manipulative tears she usually deployed with surgical precision. These were real ugly sobs, because her entire carefully crafted social media persona was crumbling in real time in front of everyone who mattered to her. "I trusted you," one of her photographer friends said loudly. "I have been promoting your lifestyle content to my followers. Now I look like a complete fool." Dad tried to leave, but I wasn't finished destroying him yet. "One more thing," I said, my voice carrying clearly across the silent room. "Since there seems to be some confusion about family finances and who actually supports whom, I thought you should all know that I've been subsidizing Dad's business and Emma's entire lifestyle for years. Car payments, rent deposits, credit card bills, business loans. I've got detailed records of everything." I'd spent the previous week creating a comprehensive financial breakdown. 3 years of loans that were never repaid. Money I'd given them for supposed emergencies that turned out to be shopping sprees, business trips, and luxury purchases. Almost $40,000 total that they'd conveniently forgotten about or refused to acknowledge. So when you're wondering how they afford their lifestyle on a small accounting firm's income and Emma's non-existent job history, now you know. They don't. I do. I've been their silent financial backer while being treated like an inconvenience they could exclude whenever it suited them. That's when Emma completely lost it. Started screaming about how I'd ruined her life and destroyed her reputation and humiliated her in front of everyone. Dad was trying to hustle her toward the exit, but people were blocking their path, demanding answers and explanations. His business partners were the most brutal. These guys had brought Dad into deals and partnerships based on his claimed financial success and strong family values. Now they were looking at fraud, systematic lying, and exploitation of family relationships. I heard one of them say quietly to another, "We need to review his involvement in the Morrison account and first thing Monday morning." By the end of the evening, Dad had lost 3 major clients who canceled their contracts on the spot. Emma's social media career was basically over as word spread about the fake lifestyle content. But that was just the beginning of their problems. The aftermath was swift and absolutely devastating to watch. Within 2 weeks, Dad lost 6 more clients as word spread through the local business community about his lies and the attempted credit card fraud. His partner at the accounting firm started asking serious questions about other business practices and financial irregularities. Turns out, when people think you're a liar and potential thief, they don't want to trust you with their financial planning and tax preparation. Emma's influencer friends dropped her completely that once they realized her lifestyle content was fraudulent. Her follower count plummeted from 8,000 to barely 1,200 as word spread about the fake vacation posts and borrowed lifestyle. The photographer friend threatened to sue for payment and professional embarrassment. But the real damage came from the extended family. Uncle Jim cut them off completely and demanded immediate repayment. Other relatives who'd been scammed started pursuing legal options for recovering their money. The family group chats went completely silent. Nobody wanted to be associated with the drama or risk being asked for more loans. Dad's BMW got repossessed when he couldn't make payments without the relative loan money he'd been using to cover his car note. Emma had to move back in with my parents because she couldn't afford rent without her social media income and had no real job skills to fall back on. That's when the begging phase began in earnest. First, it was Mom. She showed up at my apartment looking like she'd aged 10 years and 3 weeks, carrying a casserole like old times. "Ariana, your father's business is failing rapidly. Emma's having panic attacks every day. The whole family is falling apart. We desperately need your help to fix this situation." "Funny," I said. "I don't remember being considered part of the family when you needed a vacation funded." "That was a terrible mistake," she said, tears starting. "We see that clearly now. But you can't just watch us lose everything out of spite and wounded pride." "Not spite," I corrected. "Natural consequences." She tried guilt, tears, anger, the complete emotional manipulation playbook. But I'd been dealing with their tactics my whole life. I knew every trick they had. Dad came next. Showed up at my office building during lunch hour in a cheap suit, looking desperate and defeated. "Daughter, I know we made serious mistakes, but I'm facing bankruptcy here. The house is in jeopardy. Your mother's health insurance is through my business. If the firm fails, she loses her medical coverage." He actually played the "your mother will die without health insurance" card. These people had absolutely no shame or boundaries. "You want my help?" I said. "Here are my terms. Full public apology to everyone you lied to and scammed. Repayment of every single dollar you collected under false pretenses, and Emma gets a real job and pays back every cent I've loaned your family over the past 3 years." He tried to negotiate like we were discussing a business deal. "Be reasonable, Ariana. We can work out a payment plan that works for everyone." "Those are my terms," I cut him off. "Take them or leave them." He left them. Emma was the last to come crawling back. She waited until she was completely desperate. Evicted from her apartment, social media career dead, no job prospects because she had no real skills or work history to fall back on. She showed up crying outside my office building, looking like she hadn't slept in days, and wearing clothes I recognized from high school. "Ariana, please, I know I messed up badly, but I'm literally about to be homeless. I've got nowhere to go and nobody who will help me." "Should have thought about that before you decided I wasn't family," I said. "I was wrong. I see that now. I'll do anything. Get a real job, pay you back everything, whatever you want. Just please don't let me end up on the street." For a moment, I almost felt bad for her. Almost. Then I remembered every snide comment, every entitled demand, every time she'd taken my help for granted while treating me like I was lucky to be related to her. "You know what, Emma? You're absolutely right. You will get a real job. You will pay me back. And you'll do it without any help from me, just like I've done everything in my life without help from any of you." She tried to grab my arm as I walked away. "Ariana, please, I'm your sister." "Sisters don't exclude their sisters from Christmas after their sisters pay for everything," I said. "You made your choice. Live with it." That was 8 months ago. I heard through Uncle Jim that Dad's business finally collapsed completely. They lost the house and had to move into a small apartment across town. Emma's working at a chain restaurant now, making minimum wage and living in a studio apartment that makes my first place out of college look like a mansion. And me? I'm doing better than ever. My career is thriving, my savings account is healthy, and for the first time in my life, I've set boundaries that nobody in my family can cross. I'm not their ATM anymore. I'm not their scapegoat, their silent benefactor, or their complication. I'm Ariana, and I finally took back my power.